Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey. I am a 6th-year homeschooler to 3 children ages 10, 6, and 1. And today I wanted to give a 6-week update on my 5th graders' independent work. So if you want to know more about how our group subjects went using the Heart of Dakota, I will link that video right up here. But in this video, I want to basically talk about my 5th graders, things like reading, writing, and math, just like how all of that is going. I think a lot of you were curious about my 5th grader with IEW, Structure and Style A, so I will start with that. So he is using Structure and Style 1A. This is for 3rd to 5th grade, I think. And this is by IEW. So we used IEW Bible Heroes last year, just kind of to see how it went, if he enjoyed it, things like that, and he did. So we went ahead and picked this up. So the thing that I was most worried about was the schedule. So I think this is a 24-week schedule, and then they also have a 30-week schedule that you can do. But the videos, I was a little bit worried about the length of the videos. So I just wanted to talk about that. Also, I found out after I had bought this and opened it and everything, they actually have like a trial where you can try it for, I think, 4 weeks or 3 weeks maybe. I will link that down below. So if you are interested in that, get the trial first. Don't be like me and spend money on this and then realize that it may not work. Luckily, it is working and he is enjoying it. As far as the videos go, you watch the video in parts. So on day 1, you watch maybe like 30, 40 minutes. Second day, it's like 20 minutes. The 3rd day, you're doing this. The 4th day, you're doing that. So it's kind of like a 4-day-a-week schedule. We are actually doing it. The first week, we tried it that way. And then the second week, we decided to do writing on Mondays and Wednesdays and spelling on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'll kind of show you our spelling curriculum here in a second. But this has been working out a lot better. I just don't feel like he's as overwhelmed with writing in that way. And the other thing I like about it too is, yes, they are watching a 30 or 40-minute video, but they're actually doing their work alongside the video. So they're kind of working together. So I was worried that he would have to watch a 30 or 40-minute video and then go in and do his keyword outline and all of that, but that's not how it's been. Usually if they do have to write their summary or things like that, it's on a separate day, or, you know, they only watch 20 minutes of the video and then do their summary. And so honestly, we have been doing it on Mondays and Wednesdays. And then if he's ready to start typing out his final draft, we will just go ahead and do that on Fridays. So we are taking this at a slower pace, but I wouldn't say we're taking it so slowly that it feels like we're not getting anything accomplished. I feel like some weeks we're able to complete the whole week in a week, in 3 days, and other weeks it takes us a couple of weeks to get through. And I'm sure once we get closer towards the end of it, I think right now he's on week 4, I want to say. Let me check. He's on week 5 currently, but he wasn't feeling very good this week. And so this is one of the things that I pulled that I did not make him work on this week. And so he's currently on week 5, so he is a couple weeks behind. But I think once we get towards like the last few steps of the writing process, it might start taking a little bit longer. I anticipate that he will probably be doing this into 6th grade, which isn't a huge concern for me. If I could go back, I probably would have waited until 6th grade to start this level with him. I know it's designed for 3rd to 5th graders, but I think that doing this level for my son in particular would have been okay to start in 6th grade. But overall, we really like IEW. He likes the videos. He likes the stories. He finds them interesting. And so it's working really well for him. I mentioned the spelling. So he is doing this workbook right here. This is basically a spelling and word study for 5th grade. I did not know what I wanted to do for spelling this year. He's a pretty strong speller, and I needed something that he could be a little bit more independent on. And honestly, over the past few weeks, he's gotten much better at being able to do this by himself. I think the #1 thing I noticed is that he needs more help in vocabulary than he needs in spelling. And so this has actually been a really good fit because he's learning some of those harder to learn words to spell while also learning their meaning and definition. And like I said, the first couple of weeks, I really had to sit there and hold his hand and say, okay, does that word make sense here? Does that word make sense here? And so over the past couple of weeks, he's really gotten a lot better at, you know, process of elimination and, okay, what does this word actually mean, you know? So I think this has actually been a really good fit for him. I was a little bit leery, like I said, those first couple of weeks, because the whole point was to find something he could work on independently. But this has been going actually pretty well for him, and he's actually learning how to spell the words and learning what the words mean. So this has been a good fit for him. As I said, we do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This is designed to be a 5-day-a-week program. So basically what I'll go through is I'll pull a week at a time. I'll pick one of the pages that we're not going to do, and then it'll take us 2 weeks to complete a week. So he's not going to get through this by the end of the school year, so it's not a big deal for me. We'll probably either just finish it up, or there's actually a spelling program coming out. Sherry Hayes from Mom Delights. I've used a lot of her resources in the past and talked about them in my free curriculum video, which I will link right here as well. And she's actually coming out with a spelling that looks pretty good. So we might finish this up this year and use that spelling next year, or maybe incorporate that spelling this year. I don't really know. For now, we're just chugging along with this, and it's going great. It's going okay. The other thing I was a little bit leery on was Fix-It Grammar. You know, I love my fellow homeschool YouTube moms, but sometimes it's very hard to tell if they actually really truly like a product, or if they like it and use it because they're being sponsored and endorsed by that company. But I have to say, my son has really been enjoying Fix-It Grammar. It is something that he can just open up, do independently, get done in a few minutes. It's not something he complains about. As I said, he has ADHD and he has a short attention span, and so anything that he can open up and get done in a few minutes is going to work well. And the thing that I was the most worried about was that he would not actually comprehend what he was doing and remember what he was supposed to be marking and things like that. So basically at the beginning of the week, you get one of these pages. So it'll tell you, like, for this week, this is week 8, we're not there yet. I think we're going into week 7. Yes, we're going into week 7. But this is week 8, so you're learning about what a preposition is. Here's a list of some prepositions. Here is what you have. And I love this at the top. This is perfect for someone like my child, or me, to be honest, because you can see what you need to find and then you can check mark it. So first you find your vocabulary and read it, and we basically just talk about it. I don't make him write the definition or anything. Then he has to find 3 articles, 4 nouns, 2 pronouns, 3 adjectives, and our new prepositional phrases. So he has to find 3 of those. He has to fix the capital mark, the end mark, and the homophone. And like I said, he's actually been remembering what the articles are, what the pronouns are, what a homophone is, which one you're supposed to use. So it's actually been going really well, and it only takes a few minutes a day. So I will say, Fix-It Grammar does live up to the hype. If you want something gentle and quick that actually does work, this has been working well. He's on level 1, the nose tree. This is their new updated version. I don't have any experience with their older version, but that is going well. I don't know if I had actually purchased this yet. I think I was talking about mainly doing copy work with him, but he just loves these Good and the Beautiful handwriting books. So we actually didn't do any of these last year, I don't think. So I just went ahead and got him level 4. He probably could have jumped straight into level 5, but I bought him level 4 and 5. I think this is designed to be done just a few days a week, but he loves to do them every single day. So he usually gets through about 2 books a year, but he's still in the cursive, and he really likes the part at the bottom. He's very artistic and he really loves things like that. So this is kind of like a little incentive for him to get his handwriting done. And like I said, he loves it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I want to talk about his math. We have hit a bit of a snag with BJU math, and it took me way too long to figure out why we had a snag. The first chapter, he totally did fine, blew through it, no big deal. Second chapter was all about subtraction with regrouping. And so we had a lot of days where he would sit there for 15, 20, 30 minutes. And I'm like, what is the deal? You got your other worksheets done a week ago in 5 or 10 minutes. What is the holdup? And so I really, for some reason it took me a long time to figure out why it was taking him so long. And so I started letting him only do one side of the worksheet, or I would circle certain ones and let him do that. And I finally figured out it's because of the subtraction with regrouping. It's something that he had a really difficult time learning. It was very challenging for him, and he finally did do it. And they do include, you know, a couple of problems here and there in the review, which isn't a big deal for him to do a couple. But when he was expected to do like 15 or 20 every day, he was getting super overwhelmed, super frustrated, anxious, whatever. So I actually went ahead and we had done, gosh, I don't even know, maybe like 3 or 4 pages. It had taken us almost 2 weeks to do 3 or 4 pages, by the way. And I just went ahead and was like, let's just do the cumulative review. And he did great on that. And I did the chapter review. He did good on that. So we just went ahead and went to the next chapter. So there's 4 or 5 pages he didn't get to. It wasn't anything new. It was simply just, you know, learning how to use subtraction with regrouping with, you know, thousands of numbers or money or whatever. And like I said, I knew he could do it. I had him do a couple of the problems and he did fine. And so we're going into chapter 3 now, and it is all fractions, and he's back to being able to do a front and back worksheet in about 10 or 15 minutes. So did hit a bit of a snag with BJU, but we figured it out, and he still really likes this math, and we're just gonna keep chugging along with that. So for his social studies, he is using this. I just wanted to show you guys this because he did not have this when I shared my homeschool haul, I don't believe, for 5th grade. This is the Homeschool History Book of Centuries, and I have to be honest, it's not my favorite. I would much rather have one that is spiral bound, and a lot of times, like, it really drives me crazy because the years, if you count this from like 1180 to 1280, the year that we need is like right in the crease, and that drives me nuts. So it's a good option. It's an affordable option. I'll link it down below if you guys are interested in it. But this is what he's been using so far for his history. But we did start a book of centuries this year, so that's the #1 reason why I'm sharing that. So if you follow the Charlotte Mason method, around this time, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, they start talking about using book of centuries. And so this is the one he's been using. So when I talk about independent reading, so his independent reading for Heart of Dakota was part of the extension package, and he was reading certain books, and he liked a couple of the books, but he didn't love all of them. And he is a child who took a long time to learn how to read, and he still prefers to read things like comics and things like that. Or I feel like his biggest thing is not that he doesn't know how to read big words and things like that. I think he could easily read big words. That's not the issue. It's not even a comprehension or fluency issue. It's that he gets overwhelmed by a lot of words on a page. And so if he's reading like a comic book, he can sit there and read it for hours. Or even like kind of like an early reader type chapter book, he will sit and read that, you know, front to back, and it's no big deal, and he understands the whole thing. But when we were getting into some of the books that were assigned for him, he just did not love them. I had found the audiobook version of them, so he would follow along in his book and listen to the audio as well. So it felt a lot less overwhelming for him to do it that way, but I want him to love reading, and I want him to love what he's reading. And so instead of doing, for the rest of the year, doing kind of those assigned readers, I'm going to do a lot of those as read alouds because they correspond with what we are learning in history for that specific topic. And so he did go ahead and pick through some of the books from Heart of Dakota, like the Scripture Sleuth. I think this is supposed to be a read aloud, but he's actually just going to read this independently because he was really excited about this book. And then I actually went onto Ambleside Online and went to they have like specific grade or levels, so they have 3, 4, and 5. I kind of went through there, looked through some of their suggestions. They also have free reading suggestions for kids that maybe in 5th grade but need a little bit younger of a reading level. And so those are good options as well. And so this was one of the ones that was recommended. And so I kind of gave him the list, showed him the different covers of the books, kind of talked about what they were about, and he picked The Cricket in Times Square. So he's going to go ahead and read this one for his next reading. And if you look at it, it's not, the words are a little bit smaller, but there's not a ton of words on the page. And so it's not going to be a huge deal for him. And then he also really loves Homeward Bound, if you've ever seen the Disney version. And so he really loves that movie. And so I actually got him the book, The Incredible Journey. This is what the movie's based on. And so this is literally what he does. He will go through a book, see how many pages it has, see how many pages per chapter it has, and kind of decide if he wants to read it that way. And that kind of like makes me sad. Like, I want him to pick books that he wants to read, that he's interested in, and he just gets overwhelmed by that. So these are the 2 books that he picked that he wants to do in the upcoming weeks. He also wants to do The Scripture Sleuth, and he's currently reading Ben and Me, and he's following along on YouTube with an audio version of this. So he actually really likes learning about Benjamin Franklin, and he thinks it's hilarious that it's told from a mouse's perspective. So he's gonna finish that up. To go along with this, I have been having him do this about once a week. This is his narration notebook. I literally, from Mom Delights, she has free pages, narration pages. And so I just have him write a couple sentences, and then he draws what he remembers from the story. And so kind of like with The Good and the Beautiful handwriting, he loves to be able to be artistic and draw and do all of that. So that's kind of a nice incentive for him to do that. And I have to be honest, some days he does not want to write. And so, you know, if we've already done some writing assignments that week, I'm not super worried about it. He just tells me and I will write it in, and then he will doodle down on the bottom. As always, I love talking to you guys down in the comments, so make sure to leave those below. Subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.